Okay, so I guess we can officially start. So we have a fairly efficient agenda for tonight. It's good to be with everybody. First meeting of the year for the Blackstone Franklin Square Neighborhood Association. We'll do these monthly throughout the year with a short break in the summer. We'll resume our park cleanups in the March-April timeframe, and we'll most likely have a neighborhood social come March. So stay tuned for some of that notice and information as we kind of get through the year here and get through the winter. Hopefully everybody's staying warm. It's a really cold week. But before we get into the agenda, I want to give a moment to our state rep, John Moran. He asked to join tonight. He's been working on some pretty extensive legislation that impacts our neighborhood, and we're really proud to have him representing us. And I wanted to give him the opportunity to say hello and share a little bit about some of the stuff that he's been working on. So, John, if you can hear me, the floor is yours.
Yeah, no, thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it. And I promise to be quick. It just so happens that last Friday was the last day to file legislation. So I worked with my aide Elizabeth Cucker and Hunt, and we filed some really I think impactful legislation for the district, including some protecting LGBTQ plus rights. There's some stuff in the justice area, and also really for neonatal care, for protecting families and other items. But the one item I wanted to talk about tonight is something that I think is really important, and Kelly Young's on is and Sarah have been in the loop on this in terms of helping. What can the state do, right, to help the situation that we're facing in our neighborhood around mass and CAS, substance abuse disorder. And so what we did is, and we did have a call a few weeks ago with the mayor and her team, along with Kelly. Obviously, Kelly co-led the meeting. And what we decided was, that from the state's perspective, and Kelly can get into other things relative to what the city's doing, but from the state perspective, we really need to recognize that we're across the state, not only in this region, but also in other parts of the state. We're sort of moving people from point A to point B. And in advance of Long Island, we really don't have, we have an opportunity, if you will, to study whether from a continuum of care perspective, we can stand up a commission that includes the state officials, city officials, nonprofits, and figure out, what can we do to create some type of regional care such that we're giving people a place to go. We saw it, we see it in our neighborhoods where after the, I guess, was the successful amendment of Atkinson Street, we've had some dissemination of individuals experiencing substance abuse into our neighborhoods. The question is, since we've had the city's been doing everything they possibly can to get that license for the bridge and rebuild that bridge, but it is going to take some time, and we're saying up to 10 years to get things running. So this commission would recognize that there's some gaps in the care. People are falling through the cracks. They're trying to get help, they're trying to detox, and then they don't have a next step. There's no continuum of care. Our providers are a little bit disjointed, and I'm not just talking in the general Boston area, I'm talking across the state. So I think the way we get at this is with state and city support, with the legislation is standing up commission to, within 6 months, come up with a plan and recommendations to the governor and to the mayor to say what is a viable option for continuum of care. And I see it here that, in my view, is that we the solution might be recover Boston here locally, but we need some type of place for people to a regional care model that would be provide detoxification services, clinical stabilization service, transitional support, recovery, home services, outpatient treatment. Just think about it as a patient journey. And today, everyone, I want to just acknowledge all the efforts being done by the city, by Commissioner Cox, by Captain Burns. But I think we need to realize that we can't just keep on doing the same thing. And Kelly Young's team, and Kelly has all this experience, and we just need, I think, to join from the state side to help with this problem. And that's the legislation that I filed, and we'll start conversations on Beacon Hill starting tomorrow. I have a first meeting at noon to start, and we'll have a hearing on this, and you guys can come and testify.
That's wonderful to hear, John. Thank you for sharing that. It's certainly no easy feat, but I think I speak for many folks who appreciate your day in and day out effort to bring attention to this issue. And what you're talking about is going to segue nicely into one of our agenda topics when we introduce Kelly Young later in the meeting and their coordinated response team from the mayor's office and the work that they're doing. Does anybody have any questions for Rep. Moran while we got him? Anything related to what he just said or other things that's going on at the State House that impact our neighborhood? See if we can look at the chat too if anybody wants to chat questions. I don't see any chats. I think you're getting off easy tonight, John. Or everybody's still hungover from the holidays, one of the two. But
yeah.
No, we appreciate it. If anybody has any follow-up questions, John is super available. Him and his team will respond. Feel free to leave your email and your contact details in the chat, John, if you want, if anybody has any follow-up questions. But thanks for being with us tonight. I know you got a lot of these meetings, but we do appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, I do see some representatives from our city councilor offices. If they want to just introduce themselves quickly, I see Vanessa Wu from Councilor Flynn's office. I don't know, Vanessa, if you want to say a quick hi to everybody, just introduce yourself. I don't know if she can hear me, if she's on mute. And then I also see Riley Nichols from Senator Collins' office. Riley, if you want to say a quick hello, feel free.
Hi, my name is Riley Nichols. I'm Senator Collins's legislative director, and I do a lot of my work in the South End. So I'll be joining your meetings, and thank you for having me, and good to meet you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And of course, our esteemed Sarah Sharp, who is the South End neighborhood liaison. I've gotten to know Sarah pretty well over the last year or so. Feel free to say hello, Sarah, if you want to add anything to the meeting. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you, as always, for having me. As John said, I'm the South End and Bay Village neighborhood liaison from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. So if you haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, please, I'll put my email in the chat. Reach out anytime.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sarah. Okay. Yep. Did somebody else want to say something?
Hi, John. This is Vanessa from Councilor Flynn's office. Sorry, I wasn't able to speak on mute just now, but I'm here and I wanted to say hi to everybody. I'm Vanessa from Councilor Flynn's office and happy to learn and listen to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Awesome. No, thank you for being with us and thank you for representing along with Councilor Flynn. We appreciate it. So thanks for everybody for speaking in the beginning. A couple formalities. Like I said, we will most likely be doing a neighborhood social come the March timeframe. We'll get the dates out for that. And then as the weather cleans up, end of March, early April, we'll begin our monthly, we call them Tidy Up Tuesdays, but park cleanups. They're a great opportunity to meet neighbors and pick up some trash in the squares and contribute a little bit. So we'll get some info out about those. But jumping into tonight's agenda, we've got two things that we wanted to run by everybody. The first is around an exciting development project in our neighborhood on Albany Street at 595 Albany Street. For those of you not aware, it's actually pretty well into the construction phase. We're fortunate enough to have Drew Brassard, who's the developer on this project, with us tonight. And Drew had asked if he could come. He had actually been with us last year before construction had started. But we asked, now that we're well into the project, if he could talk a little bit about how things are going. We understand that there is going to be 10 units, one of them affordable, and maybe some ground floor retail space. So Drew, without stealing too much of your thunder, I'd like to turn it over to you to reintroduce or introduce yourself to the new folks and tell us a little bit about what's going on with the project and how things are shaping up.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much for having me. And I think it's been well over a year since I joined one of these last meetings, so it's great to see everyone again. The project is, as if you've been by it, is taking shape. We're kind of putting finishing touches on the exterior of the building, so you can really get kind of an idea of what the final finishes are going to be from the exterior side. Long story short, we are definitely behind schedule. We were originally forecasting to be complete with the project in October, November this year. We got out of the ground. We're in really good shape. First few phases of the project went really well, but kind of typical construction story. Lack of labor and just some issues with supply and lead times for things like that have kind of snowballed into some delays. But be that as it may, things are moving along nicely, and we're really excited about the way the building is shaping up. We currently have 2 of the units under agreement. One of the future buyers is actually was a renter at the Smith building who is relatively new to the neighborhood and loves the neighborhood. And just as I was kind of hoping with, offering 9 market rate stakeholder units, someone found a place there, then and they're going to stay put, and they're excited to be part of the neighborhood. So that's great. And we are going to be ramping back up our marketing efforts in the next few months with an eye of, towards the end of March, April. Don't hold me to that, but that's where I'd like to see things start getting complete. We pulled curb install permits, so we're going to be working on the new bump outs that are going to be kind of limiting the velocity of cars turning onto East Canton Street, and the new the Acorn lamp poles on East Canton Street have been ordered. We'll be putting in those curbs, the new sidewalk, and getting that corner nice and ready for the spring. So very much looking forward to that. We've had a few people inquire about the retail space. Mostly they were kind of coffee shop, grab and go type owners who were interested. I haven't had any kind of thorough follow up with them, but definitely interested in the location, especially given that I think it's 575 is under construction as well too. That's another 38 condo units, I believe, that are going to be slated for 2025. City Realty is doing 6 units next door to that. So it's great to see that corner and that block really really come together, and I think there's a lot of excitement building around it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll just speak personally, not for the organization, but I'm super excited to see continued development in that section of the South End. Certainly, housing is a major plus. Nice to see an affordable unit. It's a small project, right? 10 units, but it's nice to see an affordable unit get in there. And I didn't know about the retail on the bottom, so that's interesting to hear about. And it's encouraging, I would say, that you've got a couple interests already. Because I think that section of the South End is certainly lacking in terms of restaurant or cafe space, and I think those types of retail businesses certainly promote positive foot traffic, which is a great thing. So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
as we went through the first phase of this project, I've been very open-minded to what that space could be. It's relatively small. I think it's just under 400 square feet, but would be a good size for, like you said, a little cafe. Since we're going to be expanding the area around that corner with the sidewalk bump outs, there's going to be some availability for outdoor seating and things like that. But Yeah, I am very open. I mean, it could be a great artist studio. It could be really anything. It's kind of a vanilla box that is just a great little location for what that corner of the South End is going to become. And yeah, I encourage anybody to reach out to me if anybody has any ideas, or if you have any friends that are looking for a space that might be a good fit for that too. It's not built into the financials of the project. It was more of a, I want it to be something that's going to encourage people to congregate around that corner and just lively up that corner, and be a good fit for the residents. So open to any ideas if as we come into the spring.
Awesome. Great stuff. Just out of curiosity, Drew, and there might be some questions from other folks. In terms of the units, the 9 or 10 units, what's the makeup of those look? Are they 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom? What's the breakdown of those units? And do you have an approximate of what costs look like, or is that still too early in the puzzle here?
No, we have 4 2-bedroom units. They're just over 1,000 feet, but about 1,050 square feet. 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Those are ranging from just under 1.5 million to the top. It goes up in price a little bit as you go up the floors, but goes up to what we're anticipating about a 1.6 price point. Those are all in the front of the building facing Albany Street. And towards the back of the building, on the top 3 levels, we have 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and a powder room. Those are going to be in the low 2 millions to mid 2 million range price point. Each of those comes with a parking space on site. And then we also have the affordable unit, which is just, I think it's 650 square feet, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And then we have a 1 bedroom plus den on the second floor on the back of the building as well. That's priced just under 1 million. Oh, and the very top floor is the penthouse unit. It's gonna be a 4-bed, 4-bath that we're not really sure exactly where that price point is gonna end up, but we're hoping to get in the kind of high 3 million range for that. There's some really cool outdoor spaces for that. There's a private roof deck off the front that's direct elevator access. Also a nice wraparound. I call it like a skywalk that goes actually around the whole unit. That's incorporated into that as well.
Cool. Sounds like an exciting penthouse opportunity for somebody.
Yeah, I hope so.
Awesome. Maybe offline we can connect if you haven't already talked with the South End Business Alliance, SEBA.
Yeah.
That organization has been completely revamped, and they've got a dedicated person now focused on filling empty retail space in the South End. So I'd be happy to talk with you offline about that, and give you any leads for some folks that they're working with as we look to fill in more retail in this side of the South End. So that might be a good opportunity for you.
That would be great. And David and I have chatted about that in the past, and yeah, it's becoming around time to do that. I want to keep the the ideas flowing on what a good fit for that would be for both the residents and the community.
Awesome. And did I hear you correctly where you said you're targeting April timeframe to be construction complete?
Yes, I would like to say we should be done towards the end of March. Each time that we were supposed to be done in October. I was really hoping for January. It's looking probably more like March, April is where we're looking right now.
Okay. Does this inclement weather, the snow and cold, does that impact construction at all, or?
It's not helping, but
Yeah.
it's more right now. It's more around getting our electrical transformer in the ground. We've had that allocated and released to us through EverSource. We're still waiting on scheduling that install, but a lot of things hinge around that: getting elevator up and running, getting the HVAC up and running. So that's been a little bit of a kind of question mark that we've been dealing with for a few months now. That seems that we should have some definitive timing on that in the next hopefully few days. And it could be a relatively quick process is what I'm hoping for, but it's more things like that, just kind of sequencing of things falling in place that have been kind of having a snowball effect on getting things complete. But yeah, I would like to say we should be done by March.
Okay. Awesome. Well, it's exciting from this end, and please let us know if we can support in any way. Does anybody on the call have any questions for Drew, ideas, suggestions? He's been very open in this process, so feel free to send a chat or raise your hand, and we can address it. I'll just give a minute to see if anybody has anything.
Yeah,
And
sure.
maybe while we're doing that, Drew, any future plans to develop any other areas in the South End, looking ahead?
I have been kind of pencils down until we get to the end of this one. I've got a lot of money tied up, and I'm definitely always keeping my radar up. It's been an interesting landscape right now with interest rates and certain acquisition prospects, but I don't have anything definitive right now. I did complete a single family brownstone unit on Warren Ave that's been on the market most of the year, that we've been having a little bit trouble selling. I think it came out great, and we're really proud of the product. It's a smaller single family building that was completely revamped, but always looking for the next project in the South End and in the that part of Boston.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I again, speaking for myself, I think more housing is always a good thing. Foot traffic, activity, positivity. So thank you for being transparent. Thanks for being a participant in our meetings, and thanks for your openness to share details on your plans. And please let us know if there's anything we can do to support you moving forward. And like I said, offline, let's connect with SEBA to see if they got any ideas for filling that retail space once you get up and running.
That would be great. Yeah. Really
Awesome.
appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, thanks so much, Drew. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us.
You too. Thank you.
Take care.
I'll leave my email in the chat too in case anybody has any follow-ups.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be really helpful. Okay. So moving right along, I think we're being super efficient tonight. I like this. I like this new motto as we enter 2025. I'd like to introduce next Kelly Young. Kelly is from the mayor's office, and she is part of the Mass and Cast Coordinated Response Team. So for those who have been in the South End for the last 10 years or so, are certainly no stranger to the impacts around quality of life that the opioid drug homelessness epidemic has caused in the Mass and Cast situation and beyond. I think many of us are familiar with the conditions being inhumane sort of across the board, for the people suffering, but also for the residents and the businesses. And, Kelly's team is really responsible for, and I'm not going to steal her thunder, but really responsible for trying to bridge the gap between, helping those that are suffering on the streets and, the quality of life issues that residents and businesses are looking to maintain. So Kelly, I'll turn things over to you. Perhaps you want to give a little background around the coordinated team and then your role and some of your focus. I know you've been in touch with David Stone, our president, at length, and you probably know some other folks on the call here from Worcester Square. But we're really grateful that you're, in this position and grateful for your openness to talk to the community about some of the things that you're working on as this is something that certainly impacts everybody in one way or another. So I won't steal any more of your thunder. I'll turn things over to you, but thanks for being with us and sharing a little bit about the work that you're doing.
Sure, thank you. So, hi again. My name is Kelly Young. I'm the new director of the Coordinated Response Team in the Mayor's Office. And a little bit, just brief background. I've worked in social services with a concentration on substance use disorder for 25 years, and the bulk of that time has been spent in the field. So I am acutely and intimately aware of what is going on in the city of Boston, particularly in your neighborhood. So I want to just make a notation for the group that CRT is not a mass and cast team. Originally, when CRT was formed, it was to address the localized, Atkinson Street. It was, to homeless services and helping people that were out there suffering. And since the encampment ordinance, as everyone knows, there is no longer Atkinson Street. And I want to acknowledge that CRT has gone citywide since I've become director. And I think it's important for us to not separate Mass and Cass from the city of Boston. It is still a part of the city of Boston. With that being said, I don't want to discount what the South End has endured. And so CRT, let me just give you a little update on CRT. So I sort of look at walking into this as the next phase. Let's step back, reassess, and see, what is next for us. Like I have short-term goals and long-term goals. So essentially, I'm starting from scratch. Still building a team. I have a lot of really great support and new help. But in the immediate, we have some new initiatives that we're working on and hoping to roll out within the next few weeks. One of them being preventative co-response, which is it's a proactive. Instead of waiting for the crisis to occur, we will partner with law enforcement and provide, services and support that way, diversion and deflection. We've already started, rolled that out in Roxbury. We've done some work in, I'm sorry, in South Boston. My brain just blanked out. And we had over 20 officers show up to our first initiative, and we were able to break up into groups. And what that looks like is we partner together, and we're really targeting the unmotivated and disengaged, because what I've learned is that we did a really good job with providing housing and services, but a lot of people are just treatment resistant at this point for a plethora of reasons. So by partnering with law enforcement, we can acknowledge that this is a public safety and health issue, and leveraging our judicial partners and law enforcement, we can increase the likelihood that people will engage in their treatment planning. So that's some of the immediate stuff. There's other initiatives, but unfortunately, I can't roll those out with you yet, but more to come. And long term, we are looking at, different, as Representative Moran talked about the regional care model, Recover, Boston. I'm looking at it also from a different lens as well, adding that, we need more structured long-term care through the courts, recovery courts and things like that. To monitor long-term with, recovery coach support and having probation and parole involved. We all need to have a part in this. And I appreciate so much that, particularly the South End, that everybody is so dedicated to making their neighborhood in our city better. And that takes a lot of effort to do. And I just want to acknowledge that. And I really look forward to collaborating with all of you. I look at it essentially, I'm working for you. And one of the things that is important that I get across so I don't forget is 311. So we've streamlined response to 311 calls. So essentially, we are not an outreach team. I think that, or maybe that was what was before, but now we are not. We have supplemental outreach, which will support our other treatment or outreach providers. But really, our primary job is to coordinate response to the quality of life concerns that come through on 311. So I encourage you to please, please, please use 311. And if, what a lot of time holds up the response is people will just put in, encampment, but it's really a person sitting on cardboard for argument's sake, misusing substances. But we don't know that until someone has eyes on. And then there's several steps that we have to go through if that were the case. And so with the more information, it doesn't have to be like a big documented thing, but just whatever you observe is really, really helpful for us to coordinate response. And we partner with over 15 different agencies plus a day. So I really want, one of the things that is very important to me is to respond in a timely manner. And I think that we've improved that, pretty well. Always room for improvement, but I think we've made some really positive changes to response time. So I just wanted to say that, and always call 911 as well. It really helps us also with the preventative co-response, because we share, we partner with law enforcement probably the most. And we share that information so we can kind of figure out where our routes will be, or, the high utilizer areas. A lot of them we know just from being out in the neighborhoods, but it's still good to have that information to track where where we're going to go, or where we can rudimentary data, shall we say. So I encourage you to do that. I just gave a whole bunch of information. Does anybody have any questions so far? Comments?
Let me see if I see any hand raises. Yes, Andy Brand from Worcester Square. Go ahead, Andy.
So Kelly, if we call 911 for an emergency, do you also want us to put in a 311 because you can track it, or how would you like us to deal with that?
Well, if you think that it is something that could use cleanup or outreach response, or if there are syringes, yes, absolutely notify us. The sooner we know, obviously, the sooner we can respond. And I don't want you to do it just for tracking purposes. Please, by all means, if you want to, go ahead, but I know everybody lives a busy life. But it's really, two different ball games, I guess. 911 is for emergency response and 311 is for quality of life concerns. Although the two intersect, that's why the preventative co-response. And CRT, we host a meeting 5 mornings a week with high-level management and law enforcement. And we discuss elevated cases or acute cases from the previous 24 hours. EMS is also on that call, so we get, all of the reports for, narcotic-related calls. And, so we're gathering information always. So yes, great, if you can put it through 311 and think we could potentially help you, with it. But I always, if there's a concern of safety or, criminality, always 911 first. Please don't hesitate. And,
Oh, yeah, no, that was no question. I just wanted to know if you needed that help track it, or it sounds like you don't, if it's just for
I mean,
tracking.
I don't want to discourage you, but I also don't want you to go out of your way if it's not something you think we could potentially support. But the officers are aware, and we're doing a lot of training together so they can know also when to include us if we're not actually responding together, because my team isn't as large as BPD. But I won't speak for the police department, but I will just share with you that they have hired a new superintendent who is got a lot of experience with the things that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And we are working together to implement some of the strategies and really get out there and try and end congregate outdoor substance misuse. That is the goal. The mayor has tasked us with that, and I plan to follow through with that.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Andy. Looks like, Kelly, we've got another question from Brian. Brian, go ahead.
Kelly, we talked like 2 hours earlier, and just had so I won't rehash the nightmares across this side of Mass Ave with everybody here. But I wanted to maybe identify one potential bottleneck with utilizing 311 as the main point of contact and see if maybe a fix was on the way. routinely have an issue where we open cleaning tickets and then they find needles and they close the ticket and say, open like a needle ticket. Is there a way to fix that so that when street sweepers close it because needles, the ticket automatically gets forwarded over to the needle team?
So there is now a needle checkbox on 311. It's fairly new within the past few weeks. That's really gets confusing, but just to simplify, if there, again, so back to the original point, like whatever you observe is really important that you put in the 311. You can tag it, if it's syringes, I would obviously mention that. Because there are certain teams that have to respond first to clear the syringes in order for the other steps to happen in a cleanup. When I see syringes, I automatically dispatch outreach.
So I
Period.
actually want to clarify this because there's been a needle button for years. Is there a new
There's a new one.
feature?
Yes. Yep. There's
Ah.
a new feature that is for syringe cleanup. So that is one of those things that I am really working hard to improve as far as streamlining the response. So it also depends on the location. Prior to coming on board, there is an outreach team that does outreach and picks up syringes, but they were only dedicated to the Mass and Cass area. And within the past few weeks, they have gone citywide as well. The city has advised that and they've taken the recommendation. So now I can dispatch one team to do both things, which has been really, really helpful. So I've, again, a lot of this is trial and error, to see what helps and what doesn't. But I can, again, just reiterate that for like an encampment or, if we get a 311 that has syringes, encampment, people, the co-response with the, CRT and officers, that really streamlines the response. Because prior to that, outreach would go and we can offer support and services. And if a person refuses, like that's really all we can do. But having the, law enforcement and social services respond together, it sort of encompasses everything in one shot. So there's no more, okay, outreach calls and says they refuse services. Now I call BPD and then they go and follow up. It's again, it's a much more unified approach. And, without, I really, I'm not going to keep you forever, but there's a lot of really positive factors with the preventative co-response. And, one of the things that is important for me as well is addressing the root cause of addiction. I've learned through my experience that, a lot of the things that we've been working on, which are very important, which is, providing people stable housing and support, those are side effects of addiction. And so until we treat the addiction, it's unlikely that the person will be able to maintain their mental health or the housing or whatever else we have provided for the individual. So we're really at CRT focusing on addiction treatment, preventative, proactive approach, collaboration, streamlining 311 response. The more people we can have respond in the same call, the more likely it is that it will resolve faster instead of, like you're saying, calling the Sharps team and then waiting for, sanitation or, so and so. So another positive change as well is we are working with contracting with a provider that will do everything in one shot. So for me, that is like, music to my ears because it's one person that I can reach out to that will take, literally everything, human excrement, syringes, wheelchairs, mattresses, like whatever is there, they will take. So that's also another really hopeful.
That'd be really helpful because the mattresses have been tough because if they're 3 inches onto someone's property, Public Works won't touch them. And so like sometimes
Oh,
we
yeah.
have to just drag them like into the street so Public Works will like actually take it.
Yeah,
I'm,
or they
I'm
get
just thinking
there
through
and
all
then
these
they
flow
won't.
charts and this
Yeah.
is like a lot of good things. I just don't want the like one path of the because like a lot of students know to put in cleanup tickets for trash.
Right.
And so those are the ones that are going to fall through the cracks. Like I love that the coordinated team is handling when someone says an encampment, you're well sending police, you're sending outreach workers and sweepers, cleanup. That's awesome. That path is like being fixed, which is awesome. I just feel like there should be a fix so Works can refer the needle tickets
Right.
over so
So,
that like those don't fall through the cracks for people that aren't as informed about what you're supposed to do here.
so those come, if they come to my office, which they should and likely do, if it says, that's why, again, I'm asking if you could be as descriptive as you can as what you observe. It's really, really helpful for us. Like, again, no big long narrative, but mattress with a syringe, potential substance user, like anything that could, paint a bit of a picture. Like I said, certain words will flag things for me to just automatically triage certain things. Because I'd rather send someone out and have them say it's not there or it wasn't there, as opposed to the reverse of going out and saying, yeah, I can't pick this up until the syringes come. So when there is any type of public works, just trash pickup, again, if you could just advise people to put even just a keyword about substance use or syringe or, whatever it is that you're observing, and that way it will get funneled through my office. So we can, so it doesn't go backwards, essentially, is it, and I am acknowledging, like, I'm aligned with you, Brian, is what I'm just, until we can figure out the best way to speed up the process, that the keywords are really, really helpful for us.
Okay, if I see any, I'll save them for you because it sounds like you've implemented a lot of good changes. So
Thanks.
happy with any progress we can get, we'll take.
Yeah, thanks.
So I'll document the ones I see so you can get these edge cases sorted out so
Yeah.
IT knows to add a auto flow.
Please, thank you. Yeah,
Kelly, one more thing,
sure.
just to add on, thank you for the response. Just be aware that much as I don't like it, not everyone does exactly what I tell them to do all the time. So we can suggest that they fill out the tickets and check the needle box, but quite frankly, we're happy if they fill them out at all. So I think if you could use that to explain to the people, I mean, it's hard to get 500 people to do, to follow instructions.
Sure.
So if you could use that to empower the people that would prioritize letting the appropriate teams send the request to the needles, that might help. It's not really just a matter of you telling us because
No, it's not. I
Right.
agree. I agree, Andy. It's not. I'm just saying that would be helpful. But no, there are more internal things that we need to look at. And like I said, I know that 311 is looking to improve their system, hence, the new boxes, and we're trying, internally to figure that stuff. I'm not in that office, but I am privy to some of that information. And I think they're looking at maybe implementing a more efficient system, not anytime soon. Sarah, I see you shaking your head, so I'm glad I'm not the only one that is hearing that news. So more to come, but in the meantime, in between time, even Andy, like I just look at it like, even if some of the people on here have that information, maybe it will be helpful for the cases that this group puts forward. But no, it is a bigger picture concern. I agree.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Brian, for your questions. Kelly, I just have one question, and if you don't have an answer tonight, that's okay. It sounds like, things getting more coordinated is going to be better. So, just based on what you said and based on what I've heard, anecdotally from some other folks, I think we're in a position to have a really, really good year around this. So I appreciate your efforts there. Just out of curiosity, are there any metrics for success that you guys gonna base yourselves on, or the mayor's office is gonna base you on, or have you talked a little bit about that or thought about that yet?
Yeah, so sure. Now, so this has been
Outside of maybe less phone calls and
no,
complaints,
no.
right?
I mean,
But yeah.
just to give you a brief overview, this has been kind of a hot topic in the office. Because how do you measure success with substance use? Is it when they accept services? Is it when they complete treatment? Is it after people have been, in recovery or sober for an amount of time? So, I don't think that's really the way for us to address success. For me, we have started, I'm working with the engineers and analytics, and CRT is collecting its own data separate from 311 and Public Health Commission and all of those things. So I can gauge a lot of different things, patterns in where people are going, what is happening in those areas, how quickly we're responding, if are we responding for just trash pickup, or why are we responding? So as you know, data is only as good as the people that are putting that in. So there are key questions, and we're working out the kinks. Like one of the things originally that we didn't have on was, do you already have housing? We just kind of kept it in, are you connected to services? So we're trying to figure out like the keywords that we need and able to track certain, things that will help speed up our response. But ultimately, again, we are just we are a coordinated response team. So we're ultimately, I think our measure of success will be on how well we are coordinating, how many partners we have, how quickly we're responding, what are the outcomes of those responses. But as far as, again, I stress that we're concentrating on the substance use disorder and ending congregate outdoor substance use. So I'm not sure how we'll track the success in that, because substance use is such a secular disease. It's not linear. It's rinse and repeat, sometimes with the same person, numerous times. So that's been a hot topic. Like, how in that arena, how do we gauge our success? So numbers is part of it, but that's not really, like, hopefully the numbers will go way down, and but that's not really what I think we're addressing here. So yes, in my 5 months, that is one of the other things that I've started. So give me a little grace, and then hopefully I'll be able to report back some really solid information to you, but I just don't have that to report yet.
No worries. No, thank you for that. And it sounds like you'd be open to sharing, some of that data with us in subsequent meetings, once you've got a handle on it. And,
Yes.
I think we appreciate the approach and the honesty around the difficulty in dealing with the situation, both in terms of the user, but also in terms of the quality of life issues for residents and businesses, right? And it seems like we're going to be a little bit more coordinated on those two fronts, versus an us versus them situation, which some of us may have felt has been the situation in the past. So good. That sounds great, and we certainly would invite you back to, again, share an update or share some data
Yeah.
on what you got. And if folks have ideas, would you encourage them to contact you directly or go through the neighborhood association leaders?
Either way, I mean, if it requires discretion, obviously, reach out to me. But Sarah and I talk, and Sarah's in our morning meeting, and we are frequently in touch. So that is also another avenue. But it's important that I'm transparent with you, and I want us to have that open rapport. And I will always, respond to everyone. And if something needs to improve, it's a modification. And I feel there's nothing we can't talk through. And the more people that, I want to support you, but I also look at, like, you're a support for me as well, because I think ultimately we're aligned in the same goal. We want to make the South End, quality of life for everyone, not just the people that are suffering with substance use disorder and mental illness. Like, your quality of life is as important to me and to the mayor. So, transparency is big, communication, again, back to 311, I always recommend you do that first, but if there is something that requires discretion, or there's something you feel that shouldn't necessarily go through that, that system, always please reach out to me or Sarah, and, we'll do what we have to do together to address it.
Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. Are there any other questions from the group for Kelly while we got her? Give it just a couple seconds here. I don't see anything in the chat, so I think we're good. Thank you so much, Kelly. Really appreciate it. Thanks for taking on this really, really difficult challenge. Thank you for being visible with us. It hasn't been easy for everybody involved, but it sounds really optimistic what you're talking about, and the mission and the mandate that you have. So thanks for being with us tonight. Thanks for your effort, and we look forward to follow-up conversations with you. Take care. Okay, well, that brings our meeting to a conclusion tonight. Short, efficient, to the point. Want to again wish everybody a happy new year. I'm going to put the Blackstone Franklin Square Neighborhood Association email address in the chat. As we develop content for subsequent meetings, if you have an idea, if you have a topic, if you have an area of interest or focus, please send us an email. We're always looking to add content to the agenda that's going to be most beneficial for the community. So feel free to email us anytime, or if you just have a suggestion or you want to get involved, email is a great way to do it. We monitor it. We'll get right back to you. And as I mentioned, we will have a Neighborhood Social coming up in March, most likely. So stay tuned for Facebook, Instagram, email announcement around that. And then we will resume our monthly park cleanups, most likely in April. I look forward to seeing everybody out there. So again, Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for your attendance tonight. Wishing everybody a great week. Stay warm, and we'll be in touch soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Night.